What's good, guys? We just got some new fight announcements, guys, for UFC 314, UFC 315. Dana White just announced a bunch of fights, so we're going to get right into it.
UFC 314, number one ranked former champion Alex Volkanovski will be taking on number 3 ranked Diego Lopez for the vacant UFC.
This is an entirely better matchup for Alexander Volkanovski facing Diego Lopez. Ilia Topuria seems like he's going to be moving up the division, and it seems like they forced him to move up the division. If he's going to move up, he has to vacate his belt. So he vacated his belt, or I don't know if he just wanted to do that out of just not being able to make weight no more. That's apparently what Dana White said. But in my opinion, honestly, this makes the featherweight division 10 times more interesting.
Featherweight title. Topuria has felt like he's done all that he can in that division, and he feels like he's cemented his legacy, and his body cannot make the weight anymore. So Topuria will be moving up to 155 pounds and will be vacating the featherweight titles. There is a 5-round co-main event.
So, early predictions. Honestly, I think Volkanovski has a chance. We know Diego Lopez has insane power, but we know we saw him against Dan Ige on short notice lose the third round. He came in heavy, strong in the first round and in the second, and then he gassed, and Dan Ige had a little bit more success. This being 5 rounds, I think Volkanovski has a chance, and it's way better stylistic matchup for him than Ilia Topuria.
Between number 7 ranked Michael Chandler and number 12 ranked Paddy Pimblett.
Let's go, bro. Let's go.
UFC 314, number 1 ranked former champion Alex Volkanovski will be taking on.
Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett is an absolute banger. When we look at the card, UFC 314, Alexander Volkanovski headlining against Diego Lopez, number 3 ranked featherweight. Then we have the co-main event, 5-round, Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett, 5 rounds. This is the first time that Paddy Pimblett is going to be going 5 rounds inside the UFC. I can't wait. I think Paddy Pimblett should be able to win this fight, and he might even get a submission. We saw he just won against Bobby Green by submission. Then we have Yair Rodriguez fighting Patricio Pitbull. We know Patricio Pitbull comes from Bellator. He had a little bit of an issue with that, and he said he wanted to be released. Now he gets what he wants, and he is finally in the UFC fighting against Yair Rodriguez. Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates. This was rumored around 2 days ago, and finally it is made. Carlos Prates is going to be fighting on UFC 314. Nikolai Krylov versus Dominic Reyes, an absolute banger fight. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. Honestly, this is going to be an absolute banger fight. I have seen Woodson to win that fight, but we don't know. Let me know your early picks. Manon versus Werner Jandiroba, an absolute banger fight as well. Number 1 contender fight for the strawweight division. I'm going to go Werner Jandiroba to win that fight. Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper. I got Chase Hooper. Let me know who you guys got. And also, we have Sean Brady versus Leon Edwards. This is going to be an absolute banger fight. We know JDM is fighting Belal Muhammad. This is going to be an absolute banger fight. Banger written all over it. Honestly, I have Sean Brady to beat Leon Edwards. We know Michael Morales is going to be fighting Gilbert Burns, but I want to mention JDM is going to be fighting Belal Muhammad. So, Shavkat Rakhmonov is still injured, and JDM steps in, and he's going to be getting the title shot. In my opinion, this is a little bit of a big step up. Honestly, he hasn't had that much time to train for a title shot. He was supposed to be fighting Leon Edwards, but now he's faced off against Belal Muhammad. This is an absolute nightmare matchup for him, in my opinion. He was almost on the verge of losing against Gilbert Burns until that very good knee. It was a calculated knee, and he predicted that Gilbert Burns was going to shoot in for a takedown. He got a good knee, but you could arguably say he was on the way to losing that fight against Gilbert Burns. Against Belal Muhammad, in my opinion, I think this is a nightmare matchup. I think Belal Muhammad has a very good chance in this matchup, especially this being at 314 in Miami, on 315 in Canada, Montreal, correct me. This is going to be an absolute banger matchup, and I think it favors Belal Muhammad to win this fight. We know Yair Rodriguez fighting Patricio Pitbull, absolute banger. And, of course, I have to go over Manon Fiorot finally getting her title shot. Manon Fiorot finally gets her title shot against Valentina Shevchenko. In my opinion, it was long overdue. I was talking about Natalia Silva versus Alexa Grasso, and I thought she was going to get skipped in the line. But finally, she gets her title shot in Canada, UFC 315. We know she's from France, so let's go Manon Fiorot for the win. I've been heavy on Manon Fiorot ever since she came into the UFC and made her UFC debut. I think she beats Valentina Shevchenko, and I think it's finally time for the flyweight division of women's MMA to finally get a little bit interesting and shake up the division with Manon Fiorot. Carlos Prates, I think he should be able to win that fight. Shane Woodson, I think he should be able to win that fight as well. But Gilbert Burns versus versus Michael Morales is very interesting because we know that Michael Morales is Brazilian, Gilbert Burns is Brazilian. For some reason, I thought they were friends. I don't know why. I just thought that they were friends. But it seems like they're not friends, or they're just willing to fight each other. In my opinion, I think Michael Morales should be able to win this fight. He's undefeated, obviously. And I think he's going to be a massive favorite coming into this fight. This is going to be an absolute banger matchup. And in my opinion, I think Belal Muhammad should be able to beat JDM. It's going to be a pretty close matchup, but I really hope JDM can win that fight. And finally, Sean Brady gets his opportunity. He's been waiting for his opportunity. We know he just had a daughter, and she just was born. So shout out to Sean Brady. He's actually fighting at UFC March 22nd on UFC London. So we know the crowd is going to be heavy for Leon Edwards, but I got Sean Brady. Let me know who you guys got. But I can't wait for all of these matchups. These are insane matchups. I can't wait for all of these fights. We know UFC 314 needed this fight. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. This card is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. Honestly, this is going to be an absolute banger card from top to bottom. I can't ask for anything more. Dana White absolutely blessed. When we look at the entire card, even Chase Hooper being on the card is an absolute banger. Nikolai Krylov versus Dominic Reyes, Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson, Yan Shannon versus Ronald Jandaroba, Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates, Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull, absolute banger fights. Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett, Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. I think Volkanovski has a chance, and it's about time that he gets a better stylistic matchup for him. I think Ilia Topuria rematch would have been a little bit of a nightmare matchup for him. But let me know what you guys think, guys. What do you guys think? Are you guys excited for all of these fights? Let's go. I hope JDM can beat Belal, mix up some things in the welterweight division. I wonder what's happening with Shevchenko. Hopefully he has a fast recovery. But let me know what you guys think, guys. Finally, Manon Fiorot gets her title shot. Let's go, Manon Fiorot, for the win. Future flyweight champ. Since the beginning, I called it. Let's go. I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go. Peace.